High School, Heath High School, shooting 8 of his classmates. 3 of those Heath High School students died that day. Carneal pleaded guilty the next year in 1998 and was given life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. And now, all these years later, the State Parole Board is beginning a 2-day hearing process for Carneal. WHS 11's Grace McKenna listened in on those hearings today as victims of the shooting testified about their experiences. And Grace, it's so hard to believe this is 25 years later. Those students were in a prayer circle when he opened fire that day, and you say this is in 25 years, this is the first time this has happened, this parole possibility?
It's certainly one of the first, Doug. It's a big parole hearing, really, what we're hearing from today, and a lot of those people who spoke had very different experiences here. Some even have different opinions about whether Carneal should be released, but they all shared stories of the deep and lasting emotional impact the Heath High School shooting had on them, their community, and even our country. For nearly 25 years, Christina Elligood has known this day would come.
Basically been a countdown that since he was sentenced about a year after the shooting, that this day would come up on us and that we would get to voice our opinion.
Elligood testified to the Kentucky Parole Board Monday about Michael Carneal, one of the first convicted school shooters to be eligible for parole.
So we kind of were like the guinea pigs on what was done after our shooting.
Elligood survived the shooting at Heath High School, but lost her sister Nicole on December 1st, 1997.
Shirley was someone who was friends with everyone.
In the 25 years since, Elligood says the country has learned from her close-knit community, where students were back in class the next day.
The students and teachers aren't just healed overnight, that this is a life-changing event.
Carneal was 14 at the time, sentenced to life for killing 3 people and wounding 5 others, including Missy Jenkins Smith, still confined to a wheelchair.
Those that were forced to bear the consequences of Michael's decision are sentenced to life without parole.
Holland Holm, also shot that day, is open to parole if mental health experts sign off. That response, even though his own life still bears the scars of the shooting.
I've gone on from that day to start a family and have a career. Something that I couldn't fathom as I lay on the floor bleeding in that lobby.
But Elligood, Jenkins Smith, and 4 others said now isn't the time.
We are asking that he continue to be treated as an adult and that he pay for the consequences of his actions.
Monday, they called on the board to let the years play out. The Department of Public Advocacy provided us with a copy of Michael Carneal's release plan today. It says if released, he would live with his parents in Cold Springs, Kentucky, and continue mental health treatment there. It also says in part that Michael has, quote, made efforts toward rehabilitation. He has worked on bettering himself. There's nothing he can do to change what happened, but he now has the appropriate medical and psychological support that will allow him to be a contributing member of society if given the opportunity. And Doug, tomorrow we'll have the chance to hear from Michael Carneal, the second part of these parole hearings today. He's currently being held at a Kentucky State Reformatory in LaGrange, and that hearing will pick back up at 9 o'clock tomorrow.